Good morning, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Happiness After Codependency. I am Marshall Birch, and I'm your guide into discovering that happiness by being, knowing, and loving who you are. Today, we have episode 23 of the Blunt Cake series. Today, we're going to be talking about the question, are you healing for you or for someone else? Because there's a little trap in this approach to healing that gets almost all of us, actually, in our journey. So we're going to be talking about that. It's a Blunt Cake episode. That means that I'm going to be blunt. That can show up as more direct language about things, more of a call to ownership and responsibility or accountability to ourselves. And for some, that can result in more anxiety, a little sense, or more anxiety, more of a struggle there emotionally. If that's something that you do not have capacity for today, please skip this episode and come back to it when you do. That allows you to practice responsibility for your emotional capacity, your own well-being, and titrate access to information in a way that works for you. So that's going to be today's episode. Say hi in the comments below. Let me know how you guys are doing. I am going to share this out to the community here real quick. So click the buttons here. So the community is your safe haven where you can find tools, guidance, support in your journey beyond codependency, and specifically related to my work. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. Check out the rules before joining, so make sure that the community is a good fit for you. As well as if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this video, guys, to people you know will benefit from it. Thank you for your support in doing that. Also, I've got some spring offerings open right now, so stay to the end of the episode to learn more about that, and let's jump in. So, are you healing for you or for someone else? This is a very common habit in codependency. So, in codependency, we have our brains, our attention, our focus is externally oriented. What that means is that it's fixated on people, places, and things outside of ourselves. We are seeking information, guidance, validation, truth, reality through other people's perspectives, through their feelings, through other places, through objects, things like that. We tend to seek our value through these things, our safety, our sense of connection, our sense of identity through these things. So this is called external orientation, where you are seeking yourself through others. And other terms used for this is other-oriented or locus of control, external locus of control versus internal locus of control. So the reason I share in external orientation is because it's directly causing this impact. So a lot of times in our healing journey, the first place we start out at in our healing is that we become aware of the pain we're experiencing, and then we want to fix that pain, right? But we don't want to fix the pain to bring more well-being to ourselves. We generally want to fix the pain to keep someone else in our life. We want to keep the relationship in our life. We want to sustain what we have in our life. This is an attempt to try to maintain connection, safety, and identity, those three necessities that we have. And so we start healing in order to try to keep the relationship, to keep the person, to become more tolerant of the neglect or abuse dynamics in the relationship. We attempt to become more mature so that we can navigate it, things like that. This is healing for something outside yourself. This is you attempting to try to fix yourself so you can stay in something that your nervous system, your body, believes it needs in order to survive. This is a really common phase of healing. It's a common experience, one I've done numerous times in my journey, where it's like, oh, I want to heal so I can keep this person or get this outcome in my life so that I can then move on with my life. I'm not actually healing to know myself, to love myself, to care for myself. Instead, it's very transactional. trying to get it, trying to heal so I can get something out of it. This is codependent healing. This is a result of codependency and that factor of external orientation where we're externally fixated on other people, places, and things and making them feel good so we can feel good, or at least regulating them so that we can feel a little safer in our world. Now, what often happens in this is we start healing and we start looking for outcomes. We start looking for results to occur in our world, and then they don't happen. And when they don't happen, we start to feel very frustrated, very powerless, very helpless, and we start to give up on our healing work. These signals of frustration, helplessness, hopelessness, things not changing because, I'm trying, I'm doing better. Why aren't they? Why isn't this outcome happening for me? I'm healing. Why isn't the relationship changing? Things like that. These are signals that you're healing, you're attempting to heal yourself in order to try to keep something, rather than actually discover what is really healthy, aligned, and adds to your well-being in your life, which we're going to get to that here in a second. But those are the signals. You're healing so that something else can change so you can keep it. Like, I'm healing so I can tolerate this relationship so I don't have to lose them because I want to keep them close. And we're typically in this dynamic, we are hooked on the euphoria of the relationship. We're hooked on the intensity of it, the intermittent reinforcement cycle of intense euphoric, distress, and despair experiences. We're also tangled up in the idea of what's called the better than nothing fantasy. Like, it's better to have someone than nothing. And so I'm going to just try to get better so I can just keep with this, tolerate it, endure it, and maybe even it'll get better. Because if I can be better, if I can improve my person, I can heal my trauma, maybe they'll stop doing what they're doing and be more of the person they initially were when I got to know them, which could have been the love bombing self, the very gregarious, involved, attentive person they initially were, things like that. Basically, we're trying to heal ourselves to get something else outside of ourselves to change. That can be blunt. That can be hard to accept, to acknowledge. If it is, that's okay. It's one that I like I mentioned a moment ago, I've experienced it. I've done it. In fact, I caught myself doing it earlier last week. Just like, I'm trying to heal this so I can get that thing. That is not healing. That's transactionalism. That's fixing ourselves. That's not love. As much as we might feel like it is, it isn't. Because love isn't interested in altering who we are so we can get outcomes. Love asks us to receive ourselves as we are and care for where we're at. It asks us to acknowledge ourselves, to be attentive to what we really are needing in a situation or in a relationship with a person, with ourselves or with someone else, or with the circumstance that we're encountering. It's not asking us to fix who we are. It's not even asking us to fix our pain, because it doesn't need fixing. It needs care. Real love is asking us to embrace ourselves. And that's where we start to actually evolve into or transition into as we encounter the outcomes of our fixing version of healing. Because the fixing version of healing tends to produce results of frustration, hopelessness, and helplessness. Because nothing changes externally. The other person doesn't change. The relationship, generally, if we're really healing, actually gets more clear, more sober, more blunt in that way. And there usually is more conflict in this experience because we're now becoming more sovereign. We're not fawning. We're not abandoning ourselves. We're not acquiescing to their demands or expectations. We are occupying our own space, our own definition, our own power, and then expressing that through our choices and our actions and through our words, through what we communicate. And that tends to create friction because the game has changed now. The physics of the relationship are fundamentally different now. And In a healthy relationship, those things will be discussed, they'll be understood, they'll be adapted to where it's appropriate. In unhealthy or immature relationships, that friction usually reveals the incompatibility and immaturity of the relationship, leading to its end, which, if we're really healing, if that's the path we find ourselves on, then that is the appropriate path for us. This gets us into what real healing for you is about. So when we move from external orientation, we move into something from external orientation. We are moving into a process called internal orientation, meaning I am becoming aware of what I think, what I feel, what I believe, what I perceive, what I need, what I want, what I'm sensing in the world in my own lived experiences. I'm becoming congruent or aligned with me rather than harmonious with something outside of myself. That is the opposite of codependency. Codependency depends on this external orientation to shape and govern itself. Internal orientation leads us into our self-sovereignty, into our personhood, our own individual nature. And from there, we start to we become who we are, and we can act in life from a place of power that works for our well-being and happiness. Well, when we're internally oriented, when we are in our own personhood, healing is about caring for our feelings. It's about reaching within and nurturing what is there. It isn't about abandoning it. It's about having a warmth for ourselves where we value our pain. We don't see our pain as the enemy. We don't see our pain as the thing we must get rid of. We don't see the pain as the obstacle to our happiness or well-being. We understand that our pain is an expression of a part of ourselves that is hurting, that needs our love, our care, and our shelter, our protection. We see that healing isn't about becoming something so we can get something. Healing is about discovering who we are and becoming more aligned and congruent with what matters to us so that we can receive what we need and what we want in our world. Healing, real healing, it's about knowing ourselves, caring for ourselves. It's not about fixing anything. It's not about altering ourselves. It's about freedom. And that pain is a gateway to that. Because when my pain shows up, I just started a promotion yesterday and some pain showed up. Some fear of being rejected, being accused of things, which is an old trauma in my world. Rather than trying to fix it, I embraced it. I'm like, yeah, this is a scary thing to do, to step out and do our thing. It's an intense thing right now. That's okay. I'm here with you. I care about you and thank you for being here. That's how I treat myself. Back in the day when I was trying to heal to get an outcome, aka fix myself, it would have been like, yeah, gosh, that's just the wrong pain. That's just, I'm deficient, gotta fix that, gonna go do my thingies to get rid of it. Rather than do practices that acknowledge it, legitimize it, and allow myself to integrate and evolve through caring for that part of me. My friends, healing is about care. It isn't about fixing to get an outcome. I know that can be blunt. I know that can be a little pokey. That's why this is a blunt cake. This is also a chance to look at and take account for how you treat yourself in your healing. Because again, I caught myself doing it just a few days ago. This is a deep habit for many of us, and that's okay. Our work is just to recognize, I'm trying to heal this so I can get this, rather than I'm going to care for this part and see what it teaches me and about my world and where I go. The other thing here, we talk about alignment, we talk about this thing called congruence, being aligned with ourselves. Healing to fix ourselves produces false outcomes. In other words, we become misaligned with things that don't really work for us. They just perpetuate the loneliness, the emptiness, the pain, the longing, the hunger. we don't achieve fulfillment, we don't achieve connection, we don't achieve a sense of peace, a resonance in our world. With real healing, we do. The reason why is real healing doesn't look for an outcome. It doesn't have a destination to accomplish. Instead, it's oriented towards discovery of something. So when I'm healing this pain of, of being rejected or accused of something, I discover frequently as I move that, because it's a fairly intense trauma at times, more confidence, more peace, more clarity about what I want in my world. It informs me about how I really want to show up. And then I start showing up that way. That's the power of coming to heal for you rather than healing to get an outcome. It brings us back to us. Brings you back to your voice, your vision, your perception, your inspiration, your creativity, your own brilliance. Healing always comes back to aligning with a deeper sense of you. So I can check the comments here. Pamela says, hey, Pamela, it's been a while. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, Marshall, I'm in a 22-year relationship with a narc. I have 2 kids. It never ends. I can't get out of conflict resolve. He wants me to stay in therapy full time. As he travels around, yeah, it's time to leave that dynamic. That's the key. He will never change, and he's in control of that dynamic. The blunt thing there is, this doesn't work. It's time to leave that dynamic. If he says no feelings are allowed because it goes against, your religious creed, it doesn't matter, honestly. You're a sovereign being. He doesn't get to set the rules for your world. You're not in a healthy relationship. You're in a control dynamic or a dictatorship at that point. So be mindful of that. It's time to exit that relationship, move on with your life, rather than orient around him. Because I know that's blunt. I know that sounds simple and it's really trite to it. The first thing to do is acknowledge that reality that you're dealing with, apply compassion and accountability to it, so that you can connect with sobriety and make the best choice for you. Because those dynamics do not tend to change. People who are control-oriented, that's their value system. They want control. They're not going to be interested in connection. They're not going to be interested in person and the personhood of the other individual. They're there to get a benefit, and it's very transactional. So go gently and kindly with yourself, determining what is best for you and your long-term well-being. But generally, those relationships will not last. So my friends, healing is about transitioning into something new that we discover through the practice of healing. We're not doing it to try to fix ourselves, to keep a relationship, to keep a person, or to become a particular thing, or get a particular outcome. So there we go. A little bit on the promotions that are going on right now. The Everything Forever membership is open for enrollment. I opened up 10 spots. There are 9 available currently. That ends June 10th, so about a week and a half from now. The Everything Forever membership gets you access to everything I've created and will create course-wise forever. So literally, it's the option you can pay one time and get all the trainings you want with me, recorded and live. You get access to everything. So that's about, right now, if you purchased all the courses I've ever offered individually at their max price, it'd be about $16,000. So that membership is open for $2,000. There's payment plans. If those payment plans don't work for you, hit that button, apply for a custom one. We can get you one that works. I also have what's called the Freedom from Codependency Solo Program, which is new. It is my 4-course program that you can take as an independent study and accomplish freedom from codependency for yourself. It leads you through 4 courses. First one's the self-trust course. Second one's the heal yourself strategy. Third one's the know yourself strategy. And the fourth is the relationship strategy. And each of these lead you into knowing, loving, and being who you are by restoring your self-trust, by helping you restore safety, sanity, and your sovereignty in your world, to know your value, your voice, and your vision, and create happy relationships. So that is available as well. The link's above on Facebook, below on YouTube. come join us and let's change your world from that dependency, from that fear, from that emptiness. You can start discovering lasting healing, well-being, happiness, contentment, joy. Actually have yourself back. That's the work. It's to know, love, and be who you are. So you're welcome, Pamela. Thank you guys for being here. Share this video out to those whom you think will benefit from it. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell because I upload videos all the time. Again, thank you guys for your support, for helping me grow. I'm a small fish, big pond. And I really appreciate the comments. I appreciate the emails. I appreciate the support and the feedback that you give me. It helps me understand the impact I'm having on you and helps me know if I'm aligned in my own work, because I want to make effective material, effective trainings, and be able to make change in your world that matters to you. So thank you again for letting me know all about that, guys. So go gently with yourselves, and I'll see you guys in our next episode. Bye-bye.